All right, so good evening once again. Thank you for coming in tonight's information session for TEDxUPV by the UPV Mathematics Circle. So as you probably know, we already launched it last Tuesday, so 3 days ago, and it got a lot of traction and we got a lot of questions, which is why we held this information session for you all to address those questions. And in case we have like clarifications, or if you have clarifications or questions during the presentation, please feel free to stop me at any time and I will make myself available to answer those questions. So since we're a small group naman, maybe we could also get to know each other towards the end, because this talk will be super quick, like below 30 minutes, and we slated 1 hour. So in case you guys want to stay at the end and probably get to know each other, get to know the TEDx organizing team, feel free to do that too. So before we begin with the information session proper, I'd like to introduce myself.
Sure thing.
So, sorry. I'd like to introduce myself. So I'm Leah Shoko. I'm a third-year BS and Applied Math student, and I'm also the president of the UPV Mathematics Circle, which is the main org that's organizing this event, TEDxUPV. So I've previously organized a TEDx event before as well, but it didn't happen because of the pandemic. But nonetheless, we already put it up. We had it off the ground. It just didn't happen in person. So this would be my second TEDx event. And I'm very happy that hopefully it will happen. Hopefully COVID won't be back in terms of problems, or it won't bring problems anymore. So hopefully we can make this happen talaga this June 2023. And this is an organization with the UPV Mathematics Circle, which is the university-wide organization of the University of the Philippines, Visayas, and TEDxUPV is one of our main projects this year. So we have some Math O officers here tonight who are already part of the executive organizing committee of TEDxUPV. So they'll also be with me leading this and answering your questions towards the end of the information session. And you're probably wondering what's the content of this information session. So it's going to be quick, like I said, under 30 minutes. So we're just covering 5 main points, and 4 if you exclude the open forum to answer your questions at the end. But anyway, these top 5 points would be the background. So the first event was 2015. So we're going to be talking about TEDxUPV 2015. The plans for this year, TEDxUPV 2023, our ongoing recruitment process until January 20. So guys, if you haven't applied yet, please consider applying. And then the onboarding and expectations of accepted applicants. And last but not the least, an open forum where you guys can just ask us questions right off the bat and we'll try to answer them as best as we can. So if you have questions, like I said, feel free to stop me at any point and I'll try to answer it, even if we're not yet towards the open forum part. So while I'm presenting, feel free to just like raise your hand or unmute. All right, so TEDxUPV 2015. This was a very important event because it wasn't just the first TEDxUPV event, it was the first TEDx event in Western Visayas ever. So we have like big shoes to fill in terms of expectations, I would say. Because in TEDxUPV 2015, their theme was transition. And this was held on a Wednesday in March 4 with over 100 attendees and 8 speakers. And these speakers are renowned people. As you probably know, Howie Severino is a very household kind of name. He's a reporter, journalist, and so the likes of him for the likes of him to agree to speak at TEDxUPV was such an honor for UPV and in general the organizing committee. Same is true with all these other personalities who spoke at TEDxUPV. And if you want to know more, please feel free to scan the QR code here. So if you scan this will lead you to the website of TEDxUPV in 2015, together with the details of the speakers, the details of the event, and the organizing committee. So you can just scan it with your phone or take a screenshot, and then it will lead you to the website. So this is a montage of the speakers of TEDxUPV in 2015. Like I said, Howie Severino. We also have professors here. So Dr. Michael Campued is a doctor to the barrio assigned to the far-flung island of Polillo, Quezon, where he stayed for more than 4 years. We also have actual professors here like Prof. Prima Jesusa Quinsayas, Mark Lozano, a student entrepreneur who founded a company at age 16. We also have foreigners who moved to the Philippines, like Anthony Sclorado, who was South Carolinian at heart, and he really has passion for computers. So all of these people have made a mark in their own specific fields or industries, which is what led them to be invited at TEDxUPV. And that is our goal also for TEDxUPV 2023. And speaking of which, let's head on to that. So for TEDxUPV 2023, our theme is Moonshot. And we gave a little sign of this now because of our caption for the profile pic change, which said this 2023, we're taking off. And we chose Moonshot, the main co-organizers, me and Neshil. But initially, because this means that a moonshot is something that's extremely ambitious and at the same time innovative. So for example, the tech giant's latest moonshot, or like the tech giant's latest like achievement or ambitious achievement, something like that. And this is in memory of the first successful launch of a spacecraft to the moon, which you probably know, through Apollo 17. And the final date, so unfortunately we cannot move this, we cannot change this because this is what I used to apply for my license. So as you probably know, we can't just organize a TEDx event whenever you want to. It's something that you have to apply for. And this is something that I wrote on the application. So this cannot be changed because this is the reason why the whole application was approved. So the final dates would be on June 2, 2023. That is a Friday, and it's going to be 8 hours long from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So guys, if you are graduating students and medyo tight ang schedule, or if you think you don't want to miss one whole day of classes, I highly suggest rethinking your like priorities if you still want to apply here, because for sure we'll be missing like at least one whole day of classes, specifically on Friday, June 2, 2023. Though I think there won't be a lot of classes naman kasi towards the end of the school year na. And then we also have 100 attendees. So this is the maximum for all TEDx events. We cannot go over 100. And for this event, our goal is to have 20 speakers. So again, if you if you scan this QR code, it will lead you to the TEDxUPV 2023 website as well. And save the date, like I said, we cannot change it. It's final, it's on stone. Save the date, June 2, 2023 for TEDxUPV. So even if you don't apply as an EXICOM member of the organizing team, or even if you are not going to speak as a speaker, you can still be part of the event by being part of the volunteer team. So we'll be recruiting that about 2 weeks before the event. So the volunteer team is just like on the day officers, so in charge, parang people just to have extra help, to give extra help around the event date. So you can still be part either as an EXICOM member of the organizing team, either as a student speaker. So if you want to deliver a speech for TEDxUPV, and lastly as a volunteer. So that's it for TEDxUPV 2023. Now we are on our third point for the recruitment process. So we have these top 3 frequently asked questions, or FAQs, with number 1 being, can students from other UPV campus like Iloilo and Tacloban join and be part of the UPV student organizing team? Short answer is yes and no, because yes, we can recruit from UPV Iloilo. UPV Miagao, it's already a given. But for UPV Tacloban, we cannot. We are ineligible to accept them as of now, mainly due to transportation problems, the distance between the schools. But other than that, UPV Tacloban may happen in prospective TEDxUPVs, just not this year. Second, can graduate students and students graduate students and undergraduate students apply. So yes, this is open to all students from undergrad to graduate students as long as they are current students. So if you plan to go on an ALOA on the second semester, or if you know someone who's planning to go on ALOA but still want to apply, you can't do that because you have to be officially enrolled by the second sem this Feb until June 2023. And third question, since this is UPV Math Circles project, or UPV Math O, which is the main organizing student org, if you are non-Math O members but you are accepted to the organizing committee of TEDxUPV, will you be a Math O member? And short answer is yes. And yes, you will be honorary members of the hashtag Math Ohana, and you will be working closely with current Math O members. So we just want to also recruit from other orgs to make the topics or the sort of like the vibes more diverse and inclusive. And if you haven't yet, apply already. So the deadline is next Friday. So 1 week from now at 11:59. So the forms will close automatically at that time. So feel free to apply if you haven't yet, and please share naman to your friends. Because so far we are still recruiting for 3 more positions or 3 more team positions. And speaking of those teams or positions, I'll be discussing the positions open for application. So there are overall 9 specific teams, and I'll be discussing them one by one. So curation team is one of the most important teams for TEDx because you will be deciding kung sino yung 20 speakers. So the curation team will most likely be the group that's so extroverted or outgoing and have the confidence to really reach out to like high profiles. So you're gonna be setting meetings with, let's say, just like a top personality. Let's say, you wanna invite Liza Soberano to TEDxUPV. You have to have the guts and the confidence to talk to her, to seal the deal, and eventually to really help her craft her speech. So the creation team doesn't only invite, you help the speakers prepare. So you will screen their speeches, you will go with them when they do their dry runs, you will make sure that once they fly here to Iloilo, or I'm not in Iloilo, by the way, once they fly to Iloilo and speak at the event, that they're well accommodated, so to speak. So we will also discuss this further if we will be hosting the speakers, which is another thing that we'll discuss once students will be accepted as EXECO members. Second point is the executive production team. So for the executive production team, it is what it is. You lead all the production and planning for the day of the event. So you oversee all the roles happening on that day. So it will include content production, stage management, technology, and video. So think of a film or a movie, and basically you're the director, but you're just not called the director here. But basically that role, just different name. Third point, event management team. So event management team, all the work really happens on the day, but all the planning happens weeks and months before. So you have to be responsible for creating a TEDx experience. And this will involve thinking about giveaways to the attendees, giveaways to the speakers, like what are they going to eat for lunch, or the snacks in the morning, and then the other snacks before the end of the event, and even the dinner afterward. So this is all your task, like basically event planner, and everything, all the bulk of the work happens before, and then the execution happens on the day. So any questions for this part? So if none, I'll just move on to the next slide. Going once. Okay, so for the next set of positions, we have sponsorships, media, and volunteer. So number 4 first, sponsorships and budget team. So this is the most challenging part because you will be raising money from sponsors for the event. And like I said, the money will be used for the trip of prospective speakers, especially if they don't have the means to spend their personal budget to go all over UPV to speak. You'll also be raising money for the giveaways, the prospective meals, etc. Anything related to the event, that's where the money will go. And you should have experience with fundraising and development, since this is one of the most important components of the event planning process. Position number 5 is the media and publicity team. So a lot of people think in the application process that media and publicity team means creating graphic design or posters, when in fact this goes to the designing team. So the media and publicity team creates the strategy, the captions, all the hashtags, all the gimmicks to raise a campaign and make it go viral, but they don't necessarily make the pub mats, if that makes sense. So you'll be the marketing team, but not exactly the graphic designing team. So that's different. That's for another team. So just to clear things up, this team is just responsible for promoting the event to the public. And that is limited to just strategy and actual writing, but not designing pub mats. And team number 6, you have the volunteer team. Like I said earlier, if you don't get to be part of the exicom or you're not going to speak as a student speaker, you can still be part of the event day itself by being the volunteer team member. So this will be a secondary team of volunteers just on the day. So these people will like fetch water for the speakers or probably usher them to their seats, distribute IDs, lead people to like the CR, like anything like that. So these are the tasks of the on-the-day volunteer team members. But the volunteer head will be preparing also even days or weeks, months before the event to prepare the prospective volunteers in terms of orientation, like orienting them, assigning them to a specific speaker, etc. So things like that. So are there questions or clarifications for this slide? Okay, so if none, I'll move on. Next, we have the last 3 sets of teams, and they are the webmaster team, the video production team, and the design team. So the webmaster team, basically just the website. So if you have com-sci people here, please apply. Even anyone from electrons na lang, not necessarily com-sci. But you'll be responsible for developing and managing our website. And this is required by TEDx. So this should be up at least 1 to 2 months before the event. And the website will be our more formal means of communication. So there are some people, especially once we fundraise, once we reach out to companies, let's say P&G, Google Philippines, etc., they're gonna want to see like a more formal landing page, and that's where the work of the webmaster team comes in. Some companies are more, I would say, meticulous, and they don't just rely on like Facebook, Instagram accounts of the org. They also look at the website, the members of the team, etc. And this is why the webmaster team is also important, because it's a more formal channel for communication. So they'll also be working with a designer and developers to create a website that is accessible and easily managed. So shout out to our electrons here. Anyway, next for the video and production team. For the skimmers naman ang joke. Okay, I'm not gonna label course orgs, but if you want to be part of the video production team, please make sure that you have the experience, because whatever you film on the day, that's what's going to be put out on the TED YouTube channel, which has like millions of subscribers, hundreds of thousands of views once it's put up. So it has to be as professional as possible. So this is the most, I would say, competitive spot that we are really safeguarding, because this will determine the sort of like immortal presence of TEDxUPV 2023. Because once it's up on the website or the channel of TEDxUPV, we have no right to put it down. And so this is supposed to be really a work of professionals, or at least very experienced students who have done video and production before this event. So you'll be working closely with the executive production team as well. And lastly, last but not the least, we have the design team. So this will probably be the most overworked team, especially days before the event, because you'll be creating the event logo, the website, front end, like through Figma, just modeling it, prototyping it, branding materials, and other aesthetic components of our event. So this is where the design team is super needed, because I think days leading before the event will be having countdowns, etc. And so this is going to be the heaviest team, I think. The most, like I said, the most overworked team, especially towards the event. And so that's it. Once again, we have 9 teams. You have the curation, executive production, event management, the sponsorships, media, volunteer, the webmaster, the video production, and the design team. And that's it for the specific open roles or open teams. And what should you expect if you do get in? So once you are accepted and once you accept the role you've been assigned to, expect that you will have an official onboarding to the TEDx organizing / TEDx Hub platform. So that's another thing that we're going to do after we screen specific students. So we're not going to do that now. Once you get in, you'll also have access to all TEDx materials exclusive to organizing team only. You'll have official membership to the TEDx Society of Organizers. Expect 5 to 6 hours or less, more or less, of work per week, including meetings na yan. We have bi-monthly meetings beginning when you get accepted and until at least 6 months before the event, and then weekly meetings 2 months before the event, ideally in person. Daily meetings 1 week before the event. And on the day of the event itself, exclusive networking on the day of the event with the speakers. So this is something that not all attendees will get. Specifically, I think the most important part is really the onboarding to the TEDx Organizing Society and the networking on the day of the event with the speakers, I think is such a big bonus. So if you guys are still double guessing yourselves if you should accept, these are really laid out. We'll try to not make it more than 6 hours of work per week, but more or less 5 to 6 hours of work and meetings every day 1 week before the event. And with that said, thank you for listening to the information session. So time check, it's just 7:30. So you have approximately 30 minutes more before we need to close the Zoom call. So feel free to ask questions or just any comments, any suggestions, feel free to do so. Guys, if you're chatting, sorry, I don't know why, but I can't see the chat. So I think it's better if you just unmute yourself. Okay, I'll try to check the chat. So wala man may nag-chat anything. Okay, so someone sent a direct message asking if there is a limit on the number of applicants for each position or limited to 1 applicant per position. So thanks for asking. But to answer your question, there will be a team. So more or less, more than 1. There is a limit of 3. So we don't want the teams to grow more than 3. But specifically for all positions, there will be definitely more than 1 member, with the most members in the design team. Thank you. Okay, thank you as well. Thank you so much for asking. Okay, so any other questions, guys? I also tried to send the link of the application form in case. So there is the link na. And another question is, are there already prospective platforms to be used by the webmaster team? Like the tool, for example, building the website, or this will get ironed out later na lang. I'll try to show you a TEDx website that like an existing group has made. So we have an existing website for TEDxUPV, but then I know that the previous TEDxUPV made their own website as well before. So that's also something that we're gonna do on the onboarding. So if you do decide to be part of the team, we'll be meeting with the TEDxUPV 2015 team. And it's so interesting, guys, because I reached out to them and they're scattered all over the world. Like one is in Belgium, one is in the US, one is somewhere else. They're basically they've gone international, so it's super interesting to be connected to them. But that's something that we will discuss once you guys get in, hopefully. And good luck to the application, to the applicants, by the way. And another question is, how do we ask for the recorded info session? So everyone who registered for this information session will be given the link. But please take note that you may share, just make sure that those people are also part of the UPV community. So, because this will be shared via UP's system. So I know na you can't open it if you don't have a UP mail. So as much as possible, please use your UP mail when trying to access it. Kasi we have your email address naman once you registered. Anyway, I'll share the the website. So this was a question about the webmaster team, or like the website. So this is the website of Oxford. This is not provided by TEDx or the TED community, but they even have their own newsletter. So this is built from scratch. So ComSci people, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this was built from scratch and not so much from the TED community, because if you look for TEDxUPV, so this is from TED itself. And it's as simple as this. But other TEDx events also have their own specific website. So it depends on the webmaster team to create something like this. Because if you look at TEDx Oxford, it's just the same as this basically. So you have to make it more, I guess, appealing. So yes, so they had to make another website from scratch on their own. So it depends now on the webmaster team on how they're going to build it. But basically, short answer, you'll build it from scratch. Yes, there's no existing anything, no existing framework. It's all up to your creativity. Okay, so if there are no more other questions, I think I can stop the recording para we can end the formalities. And then feel free to just chika if you want. Just kidding. But yeah, if there are no more formal questions, I'll stop the recording now.